that was our choice, definitely, that was something that, I don't know where that request came from, probably from Ron and Sean, it sounds like. They're determining that, and they tell you, hey, we wanna change the block, and so we have to add more money to do that. But if it's something that was done from the design, there
When you
should be
define
a
design, what do you mean?
part of
Like
your-
wall has to move half an inch to clear something, and that has to be done during design. There are so many construction things that are happening on the side that to that level of perfection, that is impossible. Like, and AIA clearly states that, like it is, like AIA has full language that states like that the building like is a unique product. It's not a product that is manufactured. It is done on a, like it's a daily basis, but every time it's a unique solution, right? Like it's a unique design process, and there is a little bit of experimentation in every design. So there is experiment going on when we are designing a product or a project for you. It's not a product, so there is no way to foolproof a design to the level of like where, oh, maybe a wall did not have to move 3 inches.
let's pull out just like the cameras in the elevator shaft, is that code, or what was that request?
That was a
for?
request.
That
by
was
the
a
owner.
request by the
By the
owner?
owner.
By the
Yeah,
owner.
Not
that's
by the owner,
safety.
because what we
That was
realized.
for safety request by the
Yeah.
owner, that's not a code requirement. Many
Right,
owners
it's
will
not
not even
required.
like it, but this was a request by the owner. And once you do that.
And we
the
don't know
garden
about
does.
that, so explain that, what was that request for? I mean, is for
Well,
security?
I'll explain, Alan.
Yeah,
Very simple, we realized that our elevators, didn't think of it, didn't have a camera. And we're putting all these cameras in, and the question was, do we want cameras in the elevators? Absolutely. I mean, we have cameras everywhere in the building, so it would be ridiculous not to have, and so we added 3 cameras, which required some additional wiring.
yeah, it requires.
So you're not paying for the cameras through this, because that's coming other places for the wiring.
So, okay, so the bond's paying for the wiring, is it, so it's cameras in the elevator? I thought it's read somewhere, it's in
Inside
the
the-
elevator shaft, but it's not.
No, it's
cab.
inside the elevator
You're watching
cab,
people
like
inside
when
the
you are
cab.
inside the
Okay.
cab, people can still monitor you.
So all of these change orders, again, I reviewed them, the only one that I could see that wouldn't require, inspection being passed would be the paint. Everything else, in order to pass inspection, would have to be completed, is that correct? So, let me ask you this, if we don't do that, let's just play devil's advocate, that we don't fix this, we don't approve this tonight, would we pass inspection?
I think most of the issue is like already done either, or has to be done to even complete the project. So I would like, I have to go back and go line by line, but there are like issues like a steel had to move a little bit, or a wall had to be adjusted, and things like that. Or there were walls that the thickness had to grow because the product we designed for did not fit within the wall thickness that we designed.
Right, so
So-
one of them you have in there is clarified fire rated window types on door and window schedule. So if we didn't fix that,
That
are
will
we
be,
gonna end up fixing it in 5 and 10 years and it costs more?
yes, yes.
We wouldn't be able to turn over the building on
Building,
that one
yeah.
specifically
If it's-
because the fire marshal.
If it's a fire, yeah, fire rated requirement.
So when they come to inspection.
So why was it that put in the original bid? That's what
I have to also explain, like, your question is valid and I will probably answer that, but like, the explanation is, one thing you have to also think of, like, oftentimes, a fire rating requirement or something, like, maybe we did not account for like the thickness of the glass or something like that. So that is the only, as far as I remember, I think it's the glazing fire rating that was not accounted for. But these are also first cost to the owner. This is not something that was already put in and it was mistake. These are first cost to the owner. So if I was to design it perfectly, you would have still accounted for that payment. Like, it's not a additional cost to the project. So if you think about that, this is truly a first cost to the owner. There is nothing in the project as of as I can't remember, that has been already done and was found that it was done incorrectly, and then we had to go back and fix that. That's what you are paying for. Everything is a first cost to the owner at this point. So if for you, we would have done this perfectly, then this cost would have been part of the budget anyway. So think about that.
So let me ask you this then, and Brett. Added roof drain in area E that was missed during BIM coordination. So, if we didn't add the roof drain, what would happen to the building?
Then the slope was, like, this came to us essentially. So a wall, like a smaller parapet wall, that was not necessarily identified, like that, like the water cannot go over the parapet wall, so we had to add a drain there, so that it can drain correctly. If not, it would have pooled the water, so that's why we had to add the drain.
And then we have damage to the building that would require that it be fixed.
Well, that's, I get that, but why wasn't that caught part of the design?
Again, if it was caught, it was the first cost, it's a perfect design at that point, you're still paying for the first time, you're not paying it for the second time, you're not paying me any additional design fee to cover this cost. You're paying the cost of construction to put it in the first time, you're not paying it for the second time. So I feel like that is where the contingency covers us, that it is a first cost to the owner, it is not a second cost, not a remediation cost, not a fixed cost that we already messed it up and then trying to solve it. It was identified during the process, oh, there is a parapet wall, maybe we overlooked one, and then maybe the height of the parapet wall was not caught correctly, that's all. It was just a 6-inch parapet wall, and again, all of us, like, a project team was almost 50 people, and everybody had their own responsibility. One person missed one 6-inch, and that caused a drain to be missed. Tell us that we are not best designers on the world, but again, this is a lot of responsibility we are taking in terms of design.
So you're saying people aren't perfect?
But you're
I am
professional.
not perfect for sure, I'm professional, that's why I'm able to fix it, but
And
I'm not perfect.
And I would point back to what we've recommended for contingency is below industry norm, and we're beating that. You guys are getting a great product and a great price by the designer and the construction manager by beating the industry norm by far.
I understand that, but aren't there risk contingencies put in the bid? There's, when you set a bid, when the subcontractors put their bid out, they have risk things that they put in addition to their bid to take care of things.
That's their at risk portion, you know, that's the subcontractor trade, we don't have access to that,
But you don't do that on your total bill, you don't have your own, that's the contingency, that's it? And then your profit is considered
What's
what?
the percentage from the
And what is that again?
2.25?
What?
2.25.
2.25?
Mr. Collins, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
On all of these change orders, there's a project fee at the end of it, what is that?
That is our actual, that's our change order fee of 5%.
Because it's not in the 104, 105.
My dude, shouldn't that have been in the original contract?
It's a fee only added to these items. It's not a fee on to everything else. It's just, if there is additional work that had to be done, which is what all of these are, then we add our change order fee to that.
So
You're at 5% of the cost of that item?
To each item. The project fee is massive compared to, well, massive is an overstatement. The project fee is sizable on each one, and that's just because you had to do it?
Is that the ASI A19?
No, it's on every single
To-
one.
I understand, but is that what that number is?
That's first work in
To
place.
Sheeta's point, it was work that would have had to be done
Understand.
So it's
anyway,
at the
and
front
so
or at this point.
But that's what that number relates to.
is our fee, yes.
Okay, so I understand that changes need to be made, I get that, like, I had a couple of questions for DLR, makes perfect sense, I understand, totally. Now we have to pay Navels for every missed thing in addition to what we're already paying to get this done?
I would hesitate to say pay Navels, because it's paying the subcontractors that are doing the work,
Well,
we're just managing it.
these are on, this is yours, it's only on your
Yeah,
funds.
I mean, you are correct, you are paying us that, but that money is getting sent to subcontractors, it's not
Oh.
like we're just,
So that would be under subcontractor coordination, which would be on the construction contingency.
no, that's a type of error. If we made an error in coordinating our subcontractors and we had 2 people come in the same spot the same day, only one of them can work, and I have to pay that person that can't work in there because I screwed up coordination, that's something that we pay for.
I understand paying the costs and paying for the insurance and paying for the warranty and all of this stuff, but the project fee is wild to me, and maybe it's cause I'm not in that field, but like,
In the contract that you reviewed, that fee is in there, that was negotiated at the beginning.
But like the one, ASI A26 is 47. Right? That's,
Correct.
so that's the fees to have them come in and,
So my question.
that's not the equipment, that's service that, or
That's,
their labor.
that's our fee for managing the work that has to be done, the, $40-something thousand
Which
dollars.
would have been
would be for Mr. Jeter. So are we in violation of a contract with the architect or contractor by not accepting the presented change orders?
Well, that's normally a conversation that we would have as attorney-client privilege in executive session.
Okay.
I think, I can't answer the violation part, in terms of law, legal language, but since the work has been done, or is already on order to be done, the contractors need to be paid. One thing we have to clarify, none of these monies coming to the DLR group, or like, a construction team does get the project management fee, but the subcontractors are the one who is taking on this work and doing things. Many of the times, they have also identified, oh, maybe we need a drain here, like a drain is a perfect example. And they said like, oh, do you not need a drain here, or something like that, and that's what was brought to our attention, we said, okay, yeah, we agree, let's add the drain, and the cost is accounted for that. So once you do that, they have already either executed the work, or they will be executing the work. And this is a solution that is needing to complete the project. So I do not know if
So
we can
a lot of these
justify not
projects-
paying.
A lot of these projects are already completed before they were approved, which is
Approved
not,
by-
it's not out of the ordinary, I understand that. A lot of times, cause you gotta get the project going, you gotta
It's
go.
the schedule that.
We don't wanna come
drives.
back to you for extra days.
Exactly,
We gotta
but
keep it for
we've
school.
also had 1 to 2 meetings a month, that this could be brought to us in pieces instead of,
Every change order, I do not know contractually where we stand, do we need to approve every change order, through the board, I don't know,
I think so.
that's on the.
I do have a question. I think I've connected, here's my comparison, tell me if I'm on the right page here. It's test day, I'm a teacher, it's test day, and I have 30 kids in the class, and I know that I'm gonna have to grade 30 tests. 25 kids show up, 5 kids are gone for some reason. Those 5 kids still have to take the test and I still have to grade them, correct? That's kinda like a change order. Those 5 kids were expected to take the test, they weren't there, I still have to give them the test at another time and grade them at another time. Is that kinda like a change order?
Close.
Okay.
Now. As much in your terms as we
Here's
can.
my thing, I don't get paid extra to grade those 5 tests.
Yeah,
No, I'm talking to Nowholz.
Yeah.
I don't get paid, I don't get a project fee for grading those 5 tests that I was expected to grade in the first place. I don't get a project fee for doing the extra time for those 5 kids.
If we incorporated that into the GMP, the 104, 105 million, then yes, we would not get fee. Since this is outside of that, that's why the fee is.
Okay, so let's talk about the boost program, which was outside of the scope of kids doing the regular semester coursework. The teacher is still responsible for the boost program to give the students extra work to be able to pass, and they don't get paid extra for grading those
I don't
boost
think
tests.
you can
You're
compare
teaching
that at
comparing
all.
somebody to work.
I don't think you compare that at all to this. Okay, so if I have somebody come to my house and he fixes my sink, and then the sink breaks the next day, I guarantee you he's gonna charge you just to drive to your house to repair it again. I guarantee that
But
he's
you're,
gonna do it.
but you're saying they're
But-
coming to your house to fix your sink,
It-
and they
I'm
find
saying-
the
I'm saying you're
pipe
gonna
and the
have-
water that's coming to it is not,
Yeah,
matches,
it's
so
clogged,
that's
so
what they're
what do you
talking
do? You
about.
don't
Yes,
pay
you
him
have
for
to change
taking
the
the
pipe,
pipe?
you have to change the
You have to
valve.
do something, so you have to, I
I
don't
totally agree
think you
to pay
can
them to change
compare
the pipe.
my job, what I
just feel
do,
like this is an extra
to,
fee, which is wild.
to this. You know, I've reviewed this and reviewed it and reviewed it, and talked to contractors on a smaller scale, way smaller scale. Even my house that was built, I changed things on it 3 times, and it was things like putting a fireplace in the basement versus not. I mean, and that was not at this level of expenses, so I get it, guys, I get it.
I do have one more question. So your risk is making sure that the scope is met at the budget established in the GMP. That's your risk. Your job is to ensure that we get all of the things that we wanted instead of cutting costs or things out. Like, that is your risk, correct? I would like a full scope of work that we originally agreed upon for each building. I think truly that would help me understand, because like, there's so many things going on, and it's like so hard for me to keep track of, because I'm like, wait, did we talk about that already? And I can only take so many notes. I know that you guys have a full scope of work. I would like that.
So the scope of work would be the drawings and specifications.
No, that's not a scope of work and you know it. A scope of work talks about 20% of the project is this, 50% of the project is this. We are expected, we want to put this and this and this and this. It's not a picture, it can be, but it's more than that. I want the full scope of work.
I have a question about the
Define
design.
that a little bit.
Yeah, and I guess I did.
Yeah. So-
Since we bid off drawings and specifications, and if those change, that's what this is.
So we come to you and we say, hey, we want more space. In our high school, we want more gym space, we want more classroom space, we want more space for our students, yada, yada, yada. And we come up with, okay, we're gonna have this many classrooms, it's gonna be this much of electrical, this much of concrete, this much of whatever, this much is going into finishing touches, kind of like, can you go back to the,
That's in the GMP.
that's where the GMP
That's
lines.
exactly what that contract is. It's a list of items and subcontractors complete.
Like,
And that's what, it's a list of those things, Jamie, that's exactly what's there.
Okay.
They're all copied, they're all priced out.
We're on the hook for this anyways.
That's the contract that we signed.
I'm so ticked. We are paying you a butt ton of money. And I'm trusting you not to screw us here. I'm asking, I'd like, just so we're on the same page. I came in this like totally understanding, 208,000 on the scope of 114 million is nothing. I understand it. I do think we're doing great with contingency. Let that be known. But I do know if questions are not asked and things are not followed up on, it's so easy to be taken advantage of. And I do not agree that the GMP is the full scope of work. The GMP is a presentation that is simplified down. I know that the scope is long, and like, trust me, like, I am not afraid of long. I've read 2 contracts in like 3 days and I hated every second, but I need it to understand. And I need it to justify what's going on so that I can make educated decisions.
So how long have you been in business now? How long have they been in business?
75+ years.
75+ years. So do you really think that Navholt Construction would put themselves in jeopardy of screwing USD 489 over of contingencies? Do you really think that? Because I don't. I've worked, my industry is the same way. You work for these people, you don't go into business to screw people over. I really don't think that these gentlemen and women are doing that to USD 489. Again, you buy anything and you have contingencies with it. You buy a car and you're gonna have contingencies with it, because I wanted to add gloss paint, I wanted to add, car washes every month. You have contingencies with that, and you're not talking this scale. I've looked at it over and over and over. There isn't anything on here, and Jamie, you asked for, you wanna know this, you wanna know this, you wanna know this. I don't. I'm not an architect, I'm not a construction worker. So when you tell me what the modified ductwork layout for BMI coordination drawings means, I have no clue. I have no clue, and I don't wanna know, because that's their job. That's what we're paying them to do. That is what USD 489 and the previous board and the citizens of Hayes City voted for, was this to happen. And you're not having any faith in these people. I believe you're not having any faith in these people.
I don't agree. I have plenty of faith in these people, and I have stood back and watched and been like applauding, because it is great work, but it's still our job to ask questions,
It
and it's
is
still
our
our
job
job
to
to make
ask
sure that things are getting
Does
taken
anybody
care
have
of.
any more do you have any more questions?
Yes, when the guaranteed max, the design was 100% complete, or 85, 95?
100%.
It was 100% complete.
To the point where we didn't identify the misses, like, which is being identified during the construction process. But it's 100% construction documents that was bid for, and we went through different scope changes, like after bidding, because it came in very high, and we identified few scope cuts there.
So we're talking about the contingencies for the overcosts and the overruns, but what are like time, T&M, time and materials?
We didn't get paid a penny there.
Okay, but what if they are lower
In
than
terms
what
of-
we expected? I mean, there's both ways, right? I mean, if you come in and get it done in a week instead of you had planned 2 weeks, but we are charged for 2 weeks of work?
I think.
In
I
the
will let
general-
Brett
in the
and-
scope?
I think what you're asking, is it more efficient to ask for time and material or a guaranteed price from a subcontractor to complete that additional work? Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking that if we have good weather and we're busting through it and we're saving a lot of money, where's the savings go?
Are
To
you-
general
Are you asking
contractor?
for us or for our subcontractors? Cause all of our work is subcontracted, so if they had a lump sum and they were able to be more efficient with what they did, they don't have any contractual obligation to give that much back.
If it goes over, we're not gonna ask you.
And that's the
Given
flip
that,
side of it,
so
and that's
the
why
flip side, so it's a double-edged sword.
we try to avoid T&M whenever we can.
'Cause it puts us-
It's just an open checkbook is
Puts
what it
all
is.
of us under more risk.
I understand that, but I also see that there's times that there's savings. And I don't know if we see the savings or if it's, or the opportunity to say, okay, well, this is gonna cost us this much more, well, maybe we need to cut over here to stay within budget. That's what we
That's
did.
what-
Our goal is to
That's
save you as much money so you can do more things with your bond.
I mean,
Um,
the fact that they're almost through with this project, I mean,
We're
they're
wanting
over
to give
halfway
that
through.
back to, I mean, it's already in the bond, but our hope is to save you money so you can utilize it.
But we're not saving if we spend it somewhere else. That's what I'm saying.
Correct, but we anticipated that you were gonna need to spend
That's
all
why we
$1
advise
million
you to have
of
it
that.
at a lower market rate.
So if we review every little thing, like Jamie's asking, every little thing that we come back, how far off are we, putting Hayes High being completed then? And what would that cost be for you guys being here longer? Cause, I mean, you have guys that could have another contract in November, right?
That'd be an unknown.
That would be an unknown.
Yeah.
So you're talking
I hate to go
expenses
down that
there
road.
because we're prolonging this to be completed.
That-
So then what would that, how would you even look at that exceeding the bond? If it doesn't stay on
Yeah,
schedule.
if we don't stay on schedule, that will be extended
The
into the
scope of work
project.
is not so I can go through and change everything. It's so that when I sit in a meeting and they're talking about this is supposed to happen, I'm not lost. It's so I can be prepared for future meetings. I want to understand what we are getting so that when a change order comes in, I'm like, oh yeah, we did forget. We thought that the drains came with the shower, but they didn't. We do have to buy that. You're right. Like, it is not to follow up and say, oh no, you need to change this. It's so that for future meetings, I'm not sitting there asking for more questions and having to have more special meetings. It's so that I'm adequately prepared. But at this point, I make a motion to approve Hayes High School change order for PCC 02 for $208,539 as presented.
Okay.
There's nothing we can do.
I didn't get my questions asked, so I'm gonna ask.
And I have some more questions.
I got, so we'll have discussion, it's been moved, second, discussion, I'm gonna ask first. So, this is due to either fixes, product's got changed, where we got a different product than we thought, or it's on a request, correct? That's where it's coming from,
Yeah.
one of those three
Or
categories.
something that was not necessarily identified during design, or we missed it, like.
I would call it a fix.
Fix, yeah.
Right, or where's the realm of this? Is most of these owner requests, or most of these fixes, most of these product changes? Or is it equal? Do you
I
have
think it's a mix, yeah, because PCC on previous
I would call it
year,
about 50-50.
228, yeah.
33, 33, 33 on,
Yeah.
on the, okay, okay. Thank you. That's all the questions I have. Mr. Park, you had another question?
Yes, how often is DLR on site?
We are contractually here every 2 weeks.
You're here every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So you could meet with the board, I mean, can you work that out, that you, if we have more questions, or you could come on the days that you're here? I mean, it seems like if these things are brought up to our attention earlier, and we know there's gonna be changes, it'd be nice if we
I
could.
will let Kevin answer that. Kevin, contractually, we are construction observation.
Yeah, I mean, if we need to be here for a board meeting, certainly could. If
Because
there's changes and you
That's
want to hear
industry
about
standard,
those.
isn't it correct, that you are available for the owner?
Sure. I mean, if you, I mean, we can certainly talk about a significant change order, or we can group them together and come talk to you before it happens, if that's.
I understand you can't do every single one, that doesn't make sense, but if there's some, here's what's coming up, you know, it's just not this big chunk.
Yeah,
that's
generally
already
the
been done.
owner decides, like, we work with a lot of school districts, and 20,000 is the, as a state law. If it's anything more than 20,000, that needs to go to the board, and the owner decides if we need to present to the board. That's how I have
school districts are different amounts that, you know, what's allowable to be, done without board approval, but, you know, certainly, I mean.
And I know you work for a lot of, especially in the Kansas City area, Shawnee Mission, Blue Valley, all those, every one of those have construction managers that you work with, correct?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, most,
Are you, when you say construction manager, do you mean?
On site,
They're.
Their own
Their
representation?
owner representatives
No.
or CM?
They
CM
have
Tracy.
contract managers on staff that work with you and look through the plans, and work with the contractors, go through the bids.
Yeah, each school district has, it depends on the size, they have maintenance staff that, oversee some of that. They're
And then
not,
even more past contracting.
Shawnee Mission, for example, has like a facilities director.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're.
But they have two contract
So do
managers
we,
too under the.
I mean, let's just, Rusty,
I'm sure you know.
I mean, yeah, Rusty works
Rusty is
with these
present in the
guys
OACs.
very
Every
in-depth.
time, yeah.
Yeah,
Ruth, do you have any questions?
Well, I was just wondering if after we could go into executive session with Mr. Tito.
The motion, we've already got a motion in a second. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't know.
Have any questions? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of passing, there it is, Hayes High School change order PCCO2 for $208,539 as presented. All those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed say no.
No.
Mine was yes, I
Megan?
Megan voted, I need James to vote.